All right, thank you everybody for being here. Thanks everybody for watching. Chef Bravo for Bravo Plant-Based Channel and BravoPB.com. Welcome. All right, you can clap. It's all right. All right, today's demonstration is going to be on this guy right here, Fennel. So I'm gonna make Fennel 3 different ways for you guys. 3 very simple preparations also, you know, nothing fancy. Fennel is something that most people are not familiar with, but I personally think it's a wonderful vegetable. Very versatile, as you're about to see. Raw, cooked, made into a soup, blended, you know, endless possibilities. And it's got this sort of shape-shifting flavor, which I really like. It's, you know, by itself, it's got this sort of licorice sort of thing going on, but depending on how you prepare it, it just sort of flows, which I like. All right. Now, before I get started, I was given a hard time, so I have to do this really quick. I want to thank my housekeeping staff here at work for helping me out, to give me a nice clean shirt to get going here, and to feed me right before I do this, so I don't skip my lunch. So thank you to the housekeepers. Like Smeralda was in there. You never see anything about us. Okay, and also my kitchen staff as well, because if I don't say that, they're gonna fight now. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to first start cooking some of the fennel for the puree that I'm gonna make for you guys, okay? And see, no tricks. Okay, empty pot. Okay. Now, one of the great things about fennel is that it's fairly white in color, as you can see here. So it gives me the ability to either go really nice and light in color, or with the next one that you'll see, we can get some nice browning on it going on. But for the first one, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take half of one of these beautiful fennel. I'm just gonna dice it up. And into the pot and we'll go. All right, so now I'd like to get some depth of flavor in with it. So I gotta get some more stuff in there. So I got the white part off of a leek here, okay? Which I'm gonna do the same. Just gonna dice it up. Leek being one of the members of the onion family. Also a wonderful thing to use. And if you just use the white part, again, you can keep that really nice creamy white theme going on. And then also, I'm gonna add some cauliflower to it. So this is going to be a fairly white puree.
Now the leeks normally you have to soak them in water. If you use the white parts, you don't have to?
The question is, do you?
Do you have to soak the leeks in water to wash?
No. So what happens is leeks normally sprout from the ground. So as they come up, dirt will get trapped in there. Usually what happens is most of that, any of the dirt that gets trapped in there, it's in the green part because that's what grows up. Once you get to the bottom, the white part, as long as you clean the outer layers, and then the stem part, it's usually nice and clean. So now it's gone. The green that was on top of that did have to get trim cuts and rinsed. Yeah, so. Okay. Now, in order for me to keep this really nice and white, okay, I cannot allow it to brown at all, okay? If it starts to brown and I start caramelizing the natural sugars in here, that white is gone, okay? So I am now going to turn it on, and before anything else happens, I'm going to add some broth to it. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on. and we're gonna forget about it for a few minutes.
Is it vegetable broth?
I did put some vegetable broth in there, some of our house vegetable broth in there. Okay, so we're gonna leave that alone for a minute, and then I'm gonna get going on the salad. Okay, so now this is a raw / pickled preparation. Okay, for that I'm going to utilize my handy dandy mandolin vegetable slicer. Okay, and I'm going to take a couple slices first and just kind of check the thickness of it. And just a slight bit thicker. Okay. All right, so I got this fairly, I don't even know what the measurement of that, probably a 1/16 of an inch, maybe even thinner. Okay, fairly thin. Now, as you can see, I got this nice thin fennel. So this is kind of what how we serve this for you guys here at the Salad Bar. However, if you kind of leave it alone, you just slice it and put it out, it will start to turn black on you, okay? How you can prevent that is giving it one rinse. I don't know exactly what it is because I know it's not starch, but something starts to turn. But if you just wash it one time, it stays nice and white. You could also sort of put it in a container, you know, fill that up with water, okay? Problem with that is you start to lose too much flavor to the water. So just a one rinse should be enough to keep it nice and white.
And you're rinsing it after you've sliced it?
After, yeah. Okay. I know someone's wondering about this, because somebody always does. Why am I not using a guard for this? The reason is I always cut myself if I use those damn things. I lose my feel for the item. So, however, I do not recommend that you do that. If you have one of these, make sure you use those guards. Okay.
You got that glove on, that'll protect you.
That'll pass the blood for him.
Okay. So, before I risk my fennel churning, you can also add some acid to it. In this case, some vinegar, which is what I'm going to add, which is the flavoring / pickling agent anyways, okay? So if you add some acidity to your sliced fennel, there won't be any browning happening. Okay? And now I'm going to do the same here with the red onion. You see some nice thin onion going on. And before I get going, I always like to do this. So let me take a step back. We'll add this in a second. So what do you guys see here?
Fennel?
White.
Fennel? Somebody said
White.
white. Okay. Imagine that it's not me sitting in here. You just happen to walk into this room and you just see this bowl here. Is it appetizing to you?
No.
No. Why? There's no color, bland. Okay, it's just very sort of uninteresting. Okay? So as you start adding ingredients to your dishes, in this particular case to the salad, you want to add ingredients that give you a contrast of color. So now I've added some red onion. Just get that more of a purple magenta-ish, okay? So imagine you left the room, came back, and suddenly there was this sort of red onion on there, okay? What are you thinking? A little better, okay? It's a little bit more interesting now. The colors sort of bounce off each other, okay? The white of the fennel isn't as boring anymore because it's giving it contrast. Does it look appetizing now? No, it still doesn't. Okay.
It still looks like a bowl of ingredients.
It just looks like something. Okay,
Yeah.
nothing
It
that.
smells like it.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. Now we're going to add, and here, by the way, I have that licorice, okay, flavor. I have that sourness from the vinegar, and that slight spicy from the onions. Okay. Now we're going to add some sweet to it, as well as a bright red color as well. Tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Sliced cherry tomatoes. And this guy needs to turn down. Okay. Okay. So again, you left the room, came back, and suddenly something else was on the
Better?
room. Okay.
Ooh.
Now what are you thinking?
Amazing.
We're all hungry.
Probably.
We love it.
Keep in mind these folks haven't eaten in quite some time. All right. It just looks a little more interesting, right? If you weren't in this setting, you might say, okay, I'm curious as to what's in there. I don't want any. I'm just curious. What do you got going on? Okay? All right. And now, let's see, that was okay. We're going to add some mint to this. Okay?
Nice touch.
Some very dark green, along with this very aromatic kind of aroma that is mint, very minty, right? And a great combination if you happen to have some sort of sour component to the dish, okay? Mint and acidity go very well together, okay? That is why mojitos are so popular, because the mint and the lime put together.
Don't mention those right now.
All right.
So
So,
would that be mint and citrus as well?
no, I'm saying mint and acidity go really well together.
So if citrus, would mint and citrus be a good
Mint,
add? to
mint and
different-
lime, mint and orange,
Yeah,
mint and
okay.
grapefruit. Yeah. Okay. So again, you left the room, came back, and suddenly there was some mint in there. It's like, now you might think, ooh, can I have a little taste? I don't know that I want a full bowl, but I'll take a little taste and just check it out. Okay. So as you add ingredients and there's a combination of colors that start stacking, contrasting flavors, you can see how you can build a dish. And so far we've got like 4 ingredients in here. And every time we add one ingredient, the interest level and the eye appeal just kept going up and up and up. Make sense? Okay. So, let's see. I think I'm gonna leave this here alone for just a second. I'm gonna check on my puree real quick. Okay, so I'll show you where it's at. The camera there. It's got this very, I'm gonna lower it here for you guys all so you guys can all see. Okay, so it's got this very white, right?
Still white, yeah.
Okay. Interestingly enough, you don't want to overcook it because it starts to pick up color, even if there's liquid in there. Okay. If it overcooks, it starts to brown up a little bit. Okay. So you don't want to do that. So I went ahead and turned it off. I'm just going to leave it alone, and we'll come back to it in a second. But now, we'll go ahead and plate. During summertime, when it's prime corn season, Okay, I like to add some roasted corn to this. Okay, because it gives me a yellow plus, you know, another dimension. Yeah. So corn is what normally goes on here, but it's only middle of April, so. Now by now, my my red onion has picked up that, it went from like the sort of palish purple to that magenta color because of the vinegar, okay? So it doesn't need a whole lot of time to pickle.
And what's happening with the licorice flavor in a pickled?
The licorice flavor is sort of disappearing, and it's morphing into a, what would I call it? Sort of the savory root kind of thing going on. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and finish this with a pinch of coriander, ground up coriander.
Ground coriander?
What did it happen? What happened for you when I added those specks on there to the dish?
More interesting.
More interesting, okay? Specks in your food, 99% of the time, tell you that there's flavor in there. You might not know what it is. You don't necessarily know that it's gonna be good, okay? But it visually, it automatically, your brain goes, oh, somebody put some sort of an effort, some level of effort into trying to add some flavor to this, okay? And the specs tell me that,
And
whether
is there
it's...
a reason you're not putting coriander into the dish itself?
No, I just wanted to
Yeah.
do it here visually for you guys so you could see that.
Great.
Lost my train of thought. Specs, yes. There is that 1% of the time when specs in your food is a bad thing. Okay? You don't want those, okay? But most of the time, specs tells you effort was put into this food, okay? And hopefully, you know, whoever put it together knows what they're doing, okay? All right, so that's what specs do to your food. All right, we're gonna go ahead and set it aside. And I'm gonna go ahead and take my puree. Okay, might even think that might be a little too much broth. So, pick up all my leftovers, and then I'll put back some of the broth just because I think it might be a bit much. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and blend this for you. And you can see even before it goes, you know, it's got that really nice white structure, which is nice. Okay. Could I ask you to grab me a couple spoons? I didn't grab any. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. Just like I thought, I did need to take some of that liquid out, because as it is, I have this nice sort of thick puree here, which I like. Yeah, nice and clean. We'll take one volunteer while he was eating up front here. See what I tell you, these people just haven't eaten in some time.
Chris left, he was the only one.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
Enjoy it for all of us.
Yes.
Delicious.
Can you taste the fennel?
That is great.
Is it
Okay.
licorice?
I taste the cauliflower.
Could you give us a description?
A little bit of the cauliflower, and you put the fennel. What else did you put in?
And the leeks, that was it.
Oh, and the leeks.
Good? All right. So just a very simple,
Is it really fennelly, like licoricey?
Would you
No.
put anything on top to finish it, or just keep it like that?
your question was?
Oh, would you top it with anything?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Just you.
This is very nice and flavorful, very clean, okay? It's not pretentious, it's not very complex, okay? It just has a very simple
Yeah.
flavor to it and very nice texture, just very nice and soft. However, as we were just talking about for the salad, you know, it's just kind of white. No, there's not much going on in there. But we're not done yet. All right. So now I'm gonna get the braised fennel started for you. Okay.
The what?
The braised fennel. And we're gonna set this here, maybe over here, so I don't bump into it and knock it over. Okay. So now what I did is, in contrast to what I did for the puree here, okay, and I put my ingredients in there, added the broth, and before any browning happened, I make sure that I turned it off and blended it, okay. In contrast to that, I've actually turned on the pan and I'm preheating it, okay, because I want it nice and hot by the time the fennel hits it. Okay. So I might go 6 slices here. There you go. Well, maybe 5, because this guy kind of fell apart. Okay. To it, I'm also going to add some shallot. Shallot being another one in the another member of the onion family. They are more expensive. Chefs, we like them because of their flavor. It's a little bit more delicate, not as sort of rough, raw onion in your face kind of a thing. They are a bit more work to peel and to clean up. And again, more expensive. But don't be afraid of them. They are a wonderful member of the onion family. So I'm just doing some large dice here. Now I'm going to take 1 rib of celery. I'm going to peel it. So I'm going to pinch the edges here of the celery with my blade right there. Okay, and then I'm going to pull up. And so if you've ever had some celery that's stringy and sort of tough, that's what I'm removing. So when somebody bites into this, it's going to be really nice and tender. Okay, so now I can actually tell that my pan is ready. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my fennel slices on there. And we're just going to start with that.
So the old me would have had oil.
Of course. You would have started with a small amount of oil or butter or duck fat or lard or
Yeah, so what
something.
does that say to temperature for other ingredients, like help me with that adjustment, right? Am I cooking at a lower temp when we're braising?
No, you're not.
Okay.
No. So let me define braising for you really quick. It essentially is a cooking method where you combine dry heats and wet heats. So my dry heat is happening right now. I have a dry pan that's really nice and hot, which is searing the fennel, which you can see here. Okay, that's kind of what I'm doing. Okay, look at this one. Nice. Okay, so this would refer to braised animal chunks, okay? Short ribs, right? So where they would sear that piece of animal protein to give it some really nice color. And then the stock or the broth and the wine, all that stuff would go in.
So searing and braising are fairly synonymous.
No.
No.
Searing means you are caramelizing the natural sugars on the surface of the item.
Okay.
Okay? Which is what I've done. I've seared it. Nothing else. On the back of it, it's still raw.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to braise, you must sear first. Okay? But you don't have to braise every time you sear, sort of thing. Hope that was somewhat clear. Okay. So now this is what my fennel looks like. Okay? I got a nice amount of color in there. My aromatics go in. And then I'm going to add my flavoring agents here, which is going to be orange. So this is an orange braised fennel, which I'm adding some zest here. And I'm going to save some here at the end so that we can garnish. All right. And now here comes the wet heat part. I'm going to add my juice to it, which is going to turn into steam, okay? And we're going to capture it inside the pan. And it's just starting to get this sort of nice caramelized sugar because of that licorice, but now we ground it. So like orange candy kind of a thing, all right? So now I've just a small amount of liquid, probably the juice of 1.5 oranges, maybe 2 depending on the size of your oranges, okay? And now I'm just gonna leave it alone and we're gonna give it about 2 minutes and that should be enough.
High, medium, high?
At medium. So I was searing at medium high, and then once I added my juice, I just turned it to medium. This, by the way, is the recipe in the Bravo Express book for those of you who have it. Okay. Can you guys smell it?
Yeah.
Yes, we can smell it. All right. So as you can see, with fennel, we can just go in so many different directions. It's just very versatile. It's, you know, I would say it has the even higher versatility than a potato maybe. Because you know that with potatoes you can do so many things, but you can't eat them raw. Or you can, but you know, not typical. With fennel you can. So, all right. Give it another 45 seconds or so. Does anybody have one question? I need to kill about 45 seconds here.
What does the fennel taste like now?
What does the fennel taste
When
like?
it's braised?
In this particular preparation here, again, it's got that sort of orange candy kind of thing. Because,
So it's lost the licorice?
no, it's still there because we seared it, so we sort of intensified that licorice kind of thing. But orange is a pretty predominant kind of flavor. And not only that, all the steam that you see escaping from the pan is water coming out of the orange juice, which is reducing it by volume, which it means it's concentrating the flavor. So we're concentrating the orange flavor, okay? And we're adding a hint of that toasted licorice to it, okay? The texture of this will be very tender, okay? All right. Quick tip. If you are ever in front of your stove and you've got a lid on the pot and stuff, always make sure you lift the lid away from your face, not towards your face, okay? So I'm actually going to lift it towards the board here. See how the punch goes that way? Oh yeah. boys are ready. Okay. So, excellent. Clean spoon here. All right. We serve some of the aromatics here with the juice. Okay. And then we add another pinch of the orange zest over the top. Okay. So that's what that looks like. I would ideally would love to have some of the fennel tops that came with it, but my staff sort of processed them really quickly. This is why they don't.
Is it possible to show us that plate a little bit, or will it
Oh,
drain?
let me see. It'll sort of start to.
It'll fall.
Let me just show it to the camera really quick. And now I'll show it to you guys.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And now we can come back to this guy here. Because now again we have this very simple, clean tasting, nice, smooth texture, okay? But still that very plain sort of look to it, color-wise, okay? But we can say, hey, you know where? This is a play on fennel here. Alright, now we're going to add a few drops of syrup here to it. Kind of go around. Okay. Another little bit of zest. Okay. And maybe even we'll put a little sprig of basil there. So it's got that nice restaurant sort of touch. Can everybody see that one?
Yeah.
Okay. How about if I lower it here down here?
Oh.
Yeah. You see how nice that white background now really makes everything else pop. Okay. So I go very simple on the puree. Okay. Which, by the way, that could easily be a very quick soup. You know, you're getting home. You know, the kids are going, Mom, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? What's for dinner? You know, 5 minutes, you can make that into a soup. Yeah. That's good. You can make that into a soup very quickly. Okay. Again, I did less of the broth in there because I want it to be a puree. And from a puree to a soup, the only difference is amount of broth. Okay. No extra special skills needed. Okay. And then that's it. You know, we do that nice orange braised fennel over the top, and that's about it. Okay. Okay. It looks fancy, but as you just witnessed, it's really not. Okay. All right. Sound good?
Sounds delicious.
Okay.
Is it easy to make that vegetable broth? You make that here, right?
Yeah, we make that here. We go through about between 200 and 250 quarts of that broth every week.
Wow. What's in it? What do you put in it? What are these?
So for the broth, we save these kinds of things. Those crushed mare. I had a leftover shallot there. We had some
Fennel tops?
fennel tops. We had the little end pieces of the fennel bottom here. So
Whatever you have. Okay.
scraps, you know, and every week we make a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually forgot. I had some toasted pumpkin seeds that we're also going to do. See? now that I add pumpkin seeds, now we have big specks on the on the thing. Okay, and so you go, wow.
You show the camera, but not us, yeah.
Oh, okay. Everybody see it? Okay. Okay. Questions?
Tell me more about the broth. You get all the junk and you put water and
Put it in a pot, and then you go about 2 inches above where your scraps are. Okay. Put it on the stove on high heat. Once it comes to a simmer, you take it down to. Once it comes to a boil, you take it down to a gentle simmer. 30 minutes later, you're done. Strain it, and you have some broth.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That is the very quick version of that. There's actually, I do an entire lecture just on broth because it's very important. But that is the 1 minute version of that.
I noticed you didn't core the fennel. You didn't.
I didn't. That's a great observation. If I went to core the fennel and then I did my slices for my braised fennel, they would all fall apart. Okay, so the core keeps those slices all together. That's
So
why.
the core is edible if we.
The core is absolutely edible. It's unlike most cores of other things where they don't have, that's a little bitter compared to the vegetable itself. And the fennel it's all good. Yeah. It isn't any tougher either than the actual fennel itself. So the cooking time is the same, which again makes it very user friendly. Yeah. Questions? Yes.
Yeah, well, the dressing on the salad is it's just
Just the vinegar.
just vinegar, that's
Mhm.
it. You don't add anything else.
Nope. And I'm relying on the combination of the vinegar and the onion to sort of all come together. Okay. Now, that salad itself would be almost best if I had not put the mint in there, let it pickle for at least a half an hour, okay? So everything gets softer and the flavors just sort of start to mold to each other. Then add the fennel, then serve. I'm sorry, then add the mint, then serve it.
So
What kind of vinegar?
The vinegar pickles.
Brown rice vinegar.
What?
Brown rice vinegar.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, the vinegar pickles. Other things, if you don't have the cherry tomatoes, I could have done some, in the mandolin also, some carrot, some
Yeah.
nice thin carrot, which could have gone in there as well. I could have put basil instead of the mint, or maybe some tarragon, parsley. Yes, sir.
For the puree, what other flavors pair well with fennel?
Not so much that the flavors pair well, although the leeks will always pair pretty much with anything because it's an onion. Onions kind of go with everything. The cauliflower I picked because it does kind of pair well, but instead of the cauliflower, could also add some celery root, which is also that nice and white kind of color, and maybe turnips. In maybe less of them because turnips can sometimes be a little bit strong. But, yeah. Yes.
So I put garlic in everything. Would garlic not go with that?
Oh, garlic could have gone in there. Yeah, absolutely. But I knew that I was going to end up sort of making that kind of a dish, so there's plenty of flavor, all together. But absolutely, a touch of, a couple of cloves of garlic cooked with the fennel and the cauliflower and the leeks would have been great. Especially if you're just making that into a quick soup.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Don't tell me I explained it so well that you guys.
Any citrus have been good, or specifically oranges? Like maybe a grapefruit but not a lemon?
I particularly really like orange and fennel
Okay.
above any other citrus.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
fennel and orange is the one.
Just really go together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in a pinch, grapefruit would be good. Mandarin,
Well, sure.
tangerine
I'm
kind of
still
thing.
orange.
But lime and lemon are a little bit too acidic.
Sure.
Okay, because I'm looking to make
I
that
love the sweet.
sweet candy, and lemon and lime
Yeah,
don't
that makes
make
sense.
candy. Orange does. Yeah.
Um,
I forgot.
Yes.
I didn't see you peel the oranges, but did you?
I didn't. So what I did was when they were together, what I did was I used my my zester to take some of the zest off, and then all I did was just cut it in half and squeezed it.
Oh, you just put the juice in?
Yeah, just the juice. Yeah, you can still see all the orange
Oh, okay.
still in here. Yeah. Okay. Anything else I can answer for you?
Oh, yes.
Nothing?
I have an unrelated question.
Yeah, sure. If you have any other question that is not related to this, if you have questions about food you've seen, not seen, tasted, not tasted, this is the time.
The roasted bell pepper salad dressing is divine. What goes in that?
We have roasted bell peppers. I'm at that age when I forget, I forget my own recipes.
It's in the book. It's in the cookbook, right? Yeah.
It's in the first book.
Okay.
When I was a young cook, I used to always criticize the chefs that I worked for. It's like, it's your recipe, how do you not remember? And this is what happens.
Teenagers.
So it's bell peppers, shallots, vegetable broth, coriander, and cilantro. I'm 99% sure that that's it.
Can you recommend a certain kind of cookware that's good for oil-free cooking?
Oh, absolutely. So there's two brands that I recommend. And this is, by the way, in that if you go to the website, there is that recommended products page. So I recommend two brands. This one here is a Winco, W-I-N-C-O. Okay. You're looking at a $30-ish pan right here, stainless steel. We use those for many years. That is what we use here at work. My own personal cookware is Update. Okay, I'm not Update. All-Clad. I'm sorry. All-Clad. All-Clad. All ALL-CACLAD. Yeah. And All-Clad, you're looking more of like $130-ish for this kind of pan, for this size of a pan. I obviously prefer the All-Clads. They're much fancier. The heat distribution is much better. It is a better constructed sort of piece of equipment. But, give you a couple options.
What's it made of?
Stainless steel. Both of them are stainless steel.
But doesn't it have a different core?
The All-Clads do have a better core than these. I think what happens is you can see how this guy here is sort of two pieces sort of stuck together. So it's a separate piece in there, where the All-Clads it's just sort of folded over, and it's just a one solid piece.
Do you have a video, or are you planning a pantry and kitchen kind of prep? I mean, I'm returning to a different style of preparation
Different
now,
world.
right? So it's like, I know what to throw out, I'm not sure what to
put
bring
in.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have something like that, or if you would consider doing something like that, like how to prep your kitchen, pantry, seasonings.
I almost want to say I
cookware,
do.
prepware.
I touch on that in two different videos on my online courses. Got a ghosting. But I can put one together maybe in the next couple of weeks. People ask me about those kinds of things, and I'm like, it's the pantry. It's so simple. Just put the stuff in there. But it's, I have a different brain.
Yeah, I'll help you with that. I'll
People-
tell you exactly what's in my pantry.
People have asked me, it's like, do a video of your fridge. I want to see what your refrigerator looks like. It's like,
We'll see all the naughty stuff.
That's right.
you would see one bottle of champagne, and then everything else is
Oh,
clean.
funny. I figured it'd be salt next to it.
Yeah, I'll think of doing something like that, sure. Yes?
What is your opinion of non-stick cookware?
Non-stick cookware. A couple problems with non-stick cookware. It is, most of them are toxic by the nature of the materials. Also, you can't get them as hot as stainless steel. If you do, that's when they become even more toxic. And also, for me, the biggest thing is, as you saw me put this, make this dish, the braised fennel, and I put it here on the pan, I can tell very easily where I'm browning and when I'm burnt in this pan. In a stainless cookware, where it has that sort of dark charcoal
Like
kind of
Teflon,
color,
Teflon.
that Teflon color, it's hard to see, when you've gone from browning to burnt, which, makes my job more difficult. And that is actually the primary reason I don't like it. Yeah.
And how about cast iron?
Same thing, and not only that, cast iron is also very porous, which presents other problems, and they're also very heavy.
Sure.
And if you're, a chef working with pots and pans all day
There
long,
you go.
yeah, heavy pans become an issue.
What about ceramic? Yep.
Ceramics, they break. So, as you, boom, up and down, yeah.
I've got to say, the first all-clad pot that I purchased, I've had for over 40 years.
Wow.
All clads, you will
Nice.
inherit, your kids will inherit it. Yeah. And my daughter has already made sure to tell me that that's what's gonna happen.
If you had one kind of overall or best tip for people I'm brand new to cooking like this, brand new to clean eating, if you will.
Brand new to cleaning?
Clean eating.
Oh, clean eating,
Yes.
okay.
What's your overall best advice, best starter advice?
You need to watch the video from last week. I don't think you were here.
No, but wasn't.
What is your FPA was the title of that.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna tell you what that is so that you
So go watch it.
curious and you go watch it. I could say that here's the simplest thing. Just because you went from eating
Whatever.
steak and potatoes
Sure.
to now, wanting to eat clean, it doesn't mean that everything you used to know, everything you know how to do is now useless, okay? It is not I now have to reinvent the wheel, okay? That's not it. All you have to do is redirect it a little bit. And I'll give you a quick example. The lady behind you asked me when I was making that braised fennel, it's like, well, normally I would have put, some oil in there to start with, so give me some thing, okay? She already knows how to put a pot on the stove. She knows how to get it nice and hot.
Yes.
She knows kind of, if she puts her hand over it, that is, that's kind of right about where it is, okay? All of that is useful to you. Again, we're not reinventing the wheel, we're just redirecting and say, okay, this is the oil path, and this is the no oil path, okay? But you're still pedaling the same way, okay? So a lot of that transfers over, and it's really one of the reasons why I've been successful at this, is because I know how to make all the other stuff, and I apply all of those techniques and everything to that, okay?
Yeah.
So something like, fill in this blank for me, lemon pepper,
Fish?
lemon pepper.
That's all I have.
Anybody fill this in for me? Lemon pepper chicken, lemon pepper
Dressing.
lemon pepper shrimp. Okay. Lemon pepper. When the first person that came up with that combination was like, oh, I'm gonna put some lemon and some pepper together. Oh my God, this actually works very well. That happened centuries ago. Okay, and it will continue to work for many centuries. Okay, so lemon pepper is something you can always go back to in some form. Okay, and it will always work. All right. Yeah.
What's the best way of cleaning those without damaging them?
Just, when you don't cook with oil, things don't stick to the pots and pans like they do when you use the oil. So soap and water, that's all we ever use.
And what I do, if I have something that's really stuck, I'll then heat up the soap and water a little bit, right? And
Soak a
then-
little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like a washcloth, soft scrub, ice scrub?
Not a washcloth, but just a kitchen sponge.
Yeah.
Regular that
It's
green and
stainless.
yellow
Not a brilliant.
sponge. Yeah.
It's stainless,
And-
it's gonna be fine.
One of the best tricks to clean your pots and pans is while they're still hot, you add some room temp liquid. not cold water, but you just go in your faucet and grab some, you know, room temp water, and that will take care of like 80% of the washing.
Yeah, so the one thing for
Yeah. Yeah. So this here, I've now made it harder on myself by letting it cool down and sort of stick on there. But yeah. Hey, look at you wanting to know all about pants. All right. Well, thank you so much.